Hi, I'm going to show you how you can query your ClickHouse database from anywhere using Zing Data. ClickHouse is a really fast, open source database that lets you get answers extraordinarily quickly because of the way it stores data using columnar storage. And Zing is a business intelligence application that lets you create queries from iOS, Android, or the web using natural language, simply tapping on fields, or using the full power of SQL. It also lets you do things like set up real-time alerts so you can know minute by minute when certain thresholds are hit, as well as lets you share with your colleagues so they can dig into the data more deeply. Let's show you how to get started. So when we look at ClickHouse's documentation, we see that there's a sample set of credentials here. So we're just going to copy the HTTP endpoint and go over to Zing console. Now, from Zing console home screen, we see a number of data sources we can set up. We're going to say that we want to set up ClickHouse. So we click Setup, and we drop in the URL that we copied from the ClickHouse documentation. We're also going to grab the endpoint port here, 443, and we see the username is Explore or Play, either of those. We see that there's no password that's necessary in this case. So we paste in the port, we'll use username Explorer, and we'll leave password blank. We'll also require SSL because we see the S following the HTTP here, indicating that it needs the SSL flavor. And in this case, we don't have a certificate, client key, or client certificate, so we're going to leave those blank. We hit check connection, and Zing will connect to ClickHouse and verify that all the credentials are correct. If that step didn't complete successfully, you'd probably want to go back and make sure that you typed everything in correctly. From here, I can turn on or off which tables and views are available to Zing. This is a good way to simplify what your end users might see so they're not overwhelmed by, let's say, too many tables of logs or something like that. Great. Now we've added ClickHouse as a data source, and we're going to hit Zing app in the top right. I know that there's a data source, ClickHouse, that I set up that has a table called Stack Overflow in it. So I'm going to just type stack. I see the table here, and I click on it. Now I'm querying this table. So I am going to look at the total number of posts on Stack Overflow and look at how many comments there are on each one. So I'm going to group by comment count, and I'm going to count the number of posts. I hit run question, and in just a couple seconds, I see the result that shows me the distribution of posts by how many comments there are. If I wanted, I could go view this as a data table. I could sort this and include or exclude certain values. I could view it as a line chart. I could take this and view it in a number of different ways. I also could save this down as an image to go put into a presentation or save down the raw data as a CSV. In this case, I'm going to save the question, and I'll call it comment distribution from Stack Overflow. And I will tag a colleague and tap the comment option over here, Maria, and I'll tell her, hey, I would love for us to better understand what people are doing to drive more comments on their posts. Like maybe they ask a question, or maybe they have done more thorough research that question isn't already answered by someone else. Any insight into what attributes are true of the higher comment posts? Maybe it's just a more popular language that someone has the question about. And so now I've saved this comment. My colleague gets a push notification if they have the app installed, or an email to come join this conversation. And this question is now available to everybody within my organization if I want it to be, or just me if I want it to be. And the way I control that is in these sharing options in the top right. I can choose if other people in my organization have access, if they're viewers or editors. So I'll make everybody, let's say, a viewer, and then I'll give full editor access to my boss. So this gives you a quick sense, let's say James. And so now I've created a question on top of ClickHouse. It's always going to be pulling using the latest data. I've involved my colleagues to help weigh in on what might be causing some of these results that we're seeing. And if I wanted, I could do things like set up real-time alerts or ask natural language questions using OpenAI's GPT-4. You can get started with ClickHouse for free at clickhouse.com. And you can get started with Zing for free at getzingdata.com. Thanks.